bumping going on as they go up towards 6. Steve Millen forcing his way through that clutch of traffic. There's the 95 car of Bob Leitzinger.
The wide shot gives you a view of the valley here in Monterey. You can see just how far you're going to go if you get beyond that wall.
Yeah, of course. Car bottoming out there, hard on the gas, down the hill. You want to try and get out to the right-hand side of the road before you swing left through turn 9 there. Here you see 10. I want to see that real tight apex onto the right there. Have a good shot up here because this is the place where Gentilozzi might be able to pull it off. But Millen seemed to be just a bit quicker through turn 10. Now Gentilozzi is very quick off turn 11. Millen using all the road here. Around turn 1, down to turn 2. Sparks coming off the underneath of that Nissan, obviously running very close to the road to try and make the most of all their aerodynamic help.
Saw the average speed over 91 miles an hour. Great cut and thrust battle here at Laguna Seca. Now here comes Darren Brassfield into the pits. Darren, who spun to the back of this field and then came rocketing through to run 4th overall, is into the pits. You see Lee White, the team manager, and the crew looking in to see if they can figure out what the problem is. And the way they're poking around the car, this does not look good for Brassfield.
Darren and I were teammates back in 1984.
He's going to take off the helmet.
You can see him perspiring in there, pretty hot just in the few laps he's done.
Well, it would appear that something mechanical broke for Darren Brassfield. He is done. Here comes the battle for the lead. Steve Millen and Paul Gentilozzi.
Well, that's a shame that Darren's out of this race because he regards this as his home track. This is where he first drove a racing car back when he was 16 years old. He lives just up the road in Santa Cruz, and obviously wanted to do well here, as did Oldsmobile with the new car. However, it's out of the race, but these two guys aren't. 75.
Here you see Paul Gentilozzi, businessman from Lansing, getting involved in race promotion this year. Trying to organize a race in the Texas area. We understand it was a gearbox problem that stopped Darren Brassfield, and that is a very trick drive line in his car. It uses a transverse gearbox, much like you'll find on a Formula One car, built by transmission legend Pete Weissman's company. There's Jerry Brassfield,
Darren's dad.
Not having a very good day either.
Seems to have done a bit of... Yeah, he's driving a Corvette.
Another big 6-liter Chevy engine. Jerry Brassfield lost the engine cover off that car in practice, and it shattered his windshield at one point. So the Brassfield family not having a great day on their home track. Paul Gentilozzi now right up underneath Steve Millen's rear wing. I mentioned earlier that Steve Millen's driving a very different car mechanically from what Jeremy Dale has behind him. Millen's Nissan is quite new. And in the pattern of these GTS cars, all of the mechanicals, particularly the heavy parts, are located right over the center line of the car. Gas tank is right behind the driver. The diff is behind him. Very much the space shuttles of production car racing. Now here's where David said we could expect a pass, and there goes Gentilozzi down the inside of Millen. They're going to come off turn 11, and it's going to be a drag race.
And I suspect that Gentilozzi is going to win it because his car does seem to have just a little bit more grunt, but boy, it is just a little bit more.
Oh my.
Steve Millen going around the outside.
Nope, he won't be able to do it. The line is Gentilozzi's, and so we have a change in the lead. Millen will look to the inside, see if he can get him coming off. Paul Gentilozzi shoulders his way by Steve Millen into the race lead.
Paul Gentilozzi has driven an incredible race this afternoon, and to beat Steve own game says a lot for the driving prowess of Paul Gentilozzi, who really has only turned to professional racing in the last 2 or 3 years. As you said, he's a businessman, done a lot of drag racing, but has only just recently, relatively recently, become involved in road racing. But boy, he certainly seems to have learned very quickly.
And so Paul Gentilozzi takes over the lead and begins to draw away from Steve Millen. It's now an Oldsmobile out front in the GTS class.
Today's engines are precise works of art that need protection for all the ways you drive. That's why you should insist on Exxon Superflow motor oil. It coats metal parts to reduce startup friction, prevents harmful sludge buildup from short trips, protects from the heat of highway driving. For advanced engine protection, rely on the Tiger. Exxon Superflow. For all the ways you drive.
Anything you can handle, we can handle. Yokohama High Performance Tires.
Hi. You know why Quaker State asked me to be their spokesman? Because I'm tough. Quaker State is tough. Tough on wear and tough on sludge. If you use Quaker State in your new car's engine, they'll guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years. In writing, Quaker State is one tough motor oil. So naturally, they asked me because I'm tough. You don't think it's because they think I'm oily?
Back at Laguna Seca, there's a look at Bud 1 flying high overhead, making its first ever appearance with its onboard camera in an auto race. In fact, its first sports event of any kind since an appearance in the All-Star game down at San Diego. Pilots today are Maurice Melmans and Corky Bellinger. Thank them for these shots. High overhead, you see the overall leader of the race, Paul Gentilozzi, who took it from Steve Millen and is gradually pulling away from Millen and his Nissan teammate, Jeremy Dale. Meanwhile, the battle in GTU is headed by this man, John Fergus, the defending class champion, well back following some rough mechanical times in the early races of the season. The Dodge team this year running in red colors, the corporate colors for Dodge. They used to be black and yellow. Colors of the full-time racing team. Now, Dodge is a great example of the kind of mechanical diversity we find in the IMSA series. David Hobbs take a closer look at what they've been doing to get ready for this battle in a track fact. Track Facts brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
I'm down with the Infiniti Dodge Motorsports GTU team, and it's incredible to me how sophisticated these GTU cars have got over the years. Now, IMSA's always prided itself on its close racing, and one of the ways it achieves that racing is by a fairly complicated